What about a gentler, kinder universal English? Say there were a variant of English adopted by all members of the United Nations as the agreed upon universal language. This, in effect, would sanction a world in which automatic status would be conferred upon members of some nations, favoring certain ethnic groups, while others could only ever approach that status after years of study and the associated cost to attain that level of mastery. This is the reason that the European Union, as well as the United Nations, along with its predecessor, the League of Nations, has invariably, repeatedly, and adamantly rejected allowing any single nation's language as the official or sole language of communication. Second, English is perceived as neutral. Perhaps this is because non-native speakers have chosen to pursue it. This is indeed wise for an individual who has the resources to attain a certain level of mastery. However, this does not solve the language problem for the vast majority of people in the world. Most need a language that can speak competently and as equals with whomever they might encounter. Also, English comes with certain baggage. When it is taught, it is best taught by native speakers. The literature used for teaching comes from the native speaker's culture and worldview. These are definitely not neutral. In fact, teaching American and British culture are part of the illicit curriculum targeting those who want to access the American and British job and consumer markets, to the exclusion of many other world markets. Moreover, English originates from the Western countries of England and the United States, and so has attached to it certain stigmas related to the history of these nations. An unfair strategic advantage would be conferred upon the citizens, businesses, and governments of Britain and the United States, were their native languages to be officially designated as the global second language for all. Moreover, this situation would work to a disadvantage for the UK and US, as non-native English speakers would be able to read about innovation news and other writings in the UK and US, but UK and US citizens would miss out on all such literature created and not translated into English. Third, the popularity of English, that is, how widespread it is, as well as the positive feeling toward the language and what it represents, is unprecedented, but also exaggerated. For starters, the Internet was initiated in the United States and backbone created by the United States, which happens to be a native-speaking country. Computers, cell phones, and cable hookups need to access the Internet also heavily favor native English speakers. Moreover, a network made up primarily of English speakers is likely to attract English speakers, whatever their level of proficiency. However, the fact that there is a high percentage of web pages in English should not be the best indication that the web would be English-dominated if, given the resources, the non-native English portion of the world had similar affluence and infrastructure. English is not as dominant as the international language in the Internet. More Internet statistics show that native speakers of other languages overwhelmingly prefer to use their native language, or the language of their culture, ethnic group, or nation, such as Chinese, Arabic, or Urdu, and perhaps partially due to Japan's advanced Internet speeds and universal inexpensive access. Written Japanese in online blogs actually exceeds the use of English. Also, in the non-native English parts of the world, anywhere off the beaten path, you would be hard-pressed to find an even minimally proficient English speaker. Even if they have taken years in school, English speakers often have either forgotten their English or were never taught the skill of actually communicating in English. The second language of choice in wide swaths of the world is most assuredly the regional lingua franca, whether that be Russian, Arabic, Chinese, Spanish, Portuguese. There are over 20 languages with over 20 million speakers, each with their own regions of influence and dominant usage as lingua franca.